little kids, they can even start saving, investing, giving, and spending, right? They got the four, right? Because saving and investing is different, right? Saving, you want to have money set aside for emergencies or for opportunities. I don't even like to say emergencies. I call it an opportunity fund or a freedom fund. It gives you the freedom to be able to pay for stuff when you need it.
Hello, and thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Talk It Up Tuesday. And today's episode, like always, is being brought to you by Be Well Travel and Lifestyle Magazine. Who are we? We are a community, we are a magazine that's all about supporting women entrepreneurs. We are super committed to making sure that these three pillars are fulfilled. We want women entrepreneurs to be well connected, to be well informed, and to be well inspired. So I'm super excited about our guest today. This is a woman that I have been knowing for some years. But listen, we can have relationships online, but the magic happens when we take those online relationships offline. And that's what we've been doing. Hey, Alicia.
Hey, it's good to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad to have you. Timing was just, it's nothing like that divine connection because we've been knowing each
Absolutely.
other. But listen, what I know as a 30 plus year entrepreneur that women's getting together, we're talking too much about business, Alicia, but we're not talking enough about money. And when I tell you, Alicia got a no nonsense approach to this thing, and I'm so thankful that she is officially our money master for welcome. Anybody
Yay.
ask me anything about getting our money right, making sure we know where to put it, how to grow it, she is going to be our go-to person. So you guys are going to be so blessed to see what all she's going to be offering us on our online communities as well as in the magazine. So Alicia, let's just start and you tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I will. Well, you've been in this entrepreneur thing for a long time. And for me, it's been 9 years when I started my business. But, like most entrepreneurs, that's not what I started out wanting to be, right? When I went to college, I wanted to be a doctor. And because most people in my family thought of me as smart, and I was the first one to go to college, so that's what I was supposed to be, was a doctor. Nobody talked about being a business owner, right? Like, it just was not talked about. Even if there were people in our family that were business owners, for most of us that middle class dream was to go to college. And so that's what I did, right? I went to college and I pursued that middle class dream. And I followed the rules. I went to college, I got a good job, got married, had kids, bought the house, had the dog, picket fence, all of that. But the course of my life really was changed when I got a job as a financial advisor. Now that's a few years later, but prior to that, the reason I kind of have that no nonsense approach when it comes to money is because I've been through every financial situation you can think of. Even though when I was, I got married, had kids, and bought a house, at one point in my life, my ex husband lost his job and he didn't work for 8 years. And so I was financially responsible for the family. And I did not make that much money. And so we wound up going, getting on welfare, possession, the bill collectors, some of y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Foreclosure, bankruptcy, and then divorce. And I found myself the single mother of four kids. And my answer, what I thought was the answer, was to go back and get more education. I thought that would help me advance, and be able to take care of my kids. Really, and it did, to a point, because it did help me get that job as a financial advisor, but it also gave me six figures of student loan debt. Right? So the good and the bad. But in that role is where I learned the secrets of the wealthy. It was in that role that I learned how to make my money work for me versus working so hard. And I actually learned all that schooling was kind of counterproductive because, I'm thinking it's just going to be this or something to follow, right? I'm just going to take class, get an A, and then I'm going to be rich. That's not the way it works. It's a lot of ups and downs, right? It was a lot of trial and error. It was, a little bit losing some money here, making some money there, losing some money over here, making some, until I finally kind of figured out my flow. And I decided to start my own business because most people in the financial advisory world don't look like us, and they come from that background of privilege, right? They come from that background where they don't understand. And sometimes, what's understood don't need to be said. But with them, you got to explain everything. They don't understand the struggle. They don't understand it, and even as women of a certain age, especially if you're starting over like I did in my 40s, it's a whole different ball game, right? There weren't a lot of people to help me with my finances. And so once I learned these things, I really just developed a passion, and I see it as my mission to help women of color, people that are marginalized, lower income, to help them to manage their money, grow their money, and protect their money. So that's kind of how I've come to be where I am. And my goal is to reach as many women as I can to help them conquer their fears and their limiting beliefs around money, and empower them to invest in the stock market, businesses, and real estate and other passive income streams in order to create wealth.
Wow, I love that. I absolutely love that. And the thing that really stood out for me, if I had to have, of course, being in the business that I am, I'm always encountering very powerful, very accomplished women. But if I had to say, who do I want to help me to navigate financial success and give me a roadmap, a couple of things that you share would automatically make me lean to you, because there's women in our network, but they've had a fairly easy route. And so, and me as a person that has so many ups and downs and just a lot of things that's downright embarrassing to share with people, I would feel much more comfortable because you've been through a thing. You know what it is to, have the two income household, then go to one, and being able, to support your spouse, and then just going through those things, those life experiences that you shared. That's the thing to let me know that you are perfect to be the person that we want to platform with our Be Well community, because you have that experience. So as it makes so much sense as to why you see this as your mission, because of you going through it, going through and getting on the other side of things yourself. So, how do you deliver your services for women? And let's talk specifically today for women entrepreneurs. So let's do a scenario. If I'm coming to you and I have some income through my business, and I have, say, I'm in my 50s or late 40s, and I have not prepared for any type of retirement or anything, and investing is something I don't have a lot of knowledge about. Let's just give me a modest income. Let's say $50,000. I have an annual income of $50,000. What programs, products, and services would you recommend for somebody like that?
Sure, that's good. So what I probably want to do is start with what I call like a financial audit, and just kind of see what your baseline is. See, you've talked about your income, but it's also important your expenses, right?
Yeah.
And your assets and your debts and your insurance. So that in the cash flow, assets, debts, and protection. So just kind of giving you a full overview and taking a look at that, and then seeing where we can make some adjustments, plug some holes, whatnot, and then seeing what you have, what you want to set, what you should or could set aside for savings. Or if you have debt, we're going to look at, how we might want to pay down that debt. And then that's going to free up more money for you to invest. I don't recommend, there are some gurus that say, if you have any kind of debt, any kind of credit card debt or whatnot, you should not be investing. I don't believe that. I believe you need to have a plan for paying down that debt, right? And you need to have a plan to have your savings, but you also need to include investing. And the reason I say that is just to get you started, get that habit, right? Little kids, they can even start saving, investing, giving, and spending, right? They got the four, right? Because saving and investing is different, right? Saving, you want to have money set aside for emergencies or for opportunities. I don't even like to say emergencies. I call it an opportunity fund or freedom fund. It gives you the freedom to be able to pay for stuff when you need it,
Yeah.
right? Whatever that is, even if it's a trip, right? That's your
Right.
freedom fund. Ain't got to be no emergency to
I
go
love that.
dipping my money, right?
Yes.
It could be a purse if I want it to be.
Mhm.
That ain't an emergency, but it's something I'm saving for that I want,
I
right?
love that.
Or that I need in the future. It's
Mhm.
for opportunities, whatever that may be. So
Right.
anyway, you need to have that, right?
Mhm.
You do need to have that because you can't have all your money, tied up in the stock market. You can't have all your, I mean, so many people who they're in debt. So it's like, I want to put every single dollar they have towards the debt. Okay, so what happens if you need 4 new tires? Where money
Right.
coming from? If you ain't putting no savings aside, what's gonna happen?
Yes.
It's gonna be
Yes.
on the credit card. So you
Mhm.
got to do all of it. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so
Mhm.
I'll look at all of that with you. And
Yes.
then we will put some money, starting with whatever you can afford, you
Mhm.
know, into a retirement account
Okay.
for you, because that's important. And
Yes.
even outside, there are things in your business you can set up as a business owner, like a 401k or your own IRA that comes from your business expenses. But off the top, before you get to that point, we can just start an IRA if you don't have anything else. But most of us, or some of us, at least from back in the day, we might have a little bit of something. And so
Yes.
I'd even look at that for you and see how that's doing,
Mhm.
um, what you're invested in, how you might want to make some adjustments to that. So I believe in like a holistic
Okay.
approach. We're going to
Okay.
look at your income, your expenses, your assets, your debts, and your insurance. We're going to look at all of
Yes.
it.
I
So,
love that approach. Yes.
yep,
That is really, really, really good. I'm just thinking of all kinds of ways that we can pull something together specifically for the group of women in our network, especially those of us that travel, because some
yeah.
people can look at our budget and say, hey, you can't even afford to travel. But then we're going to look at our budget and say, hey, a lot of us are over 50 and we feel
Mhm.
like it's not now when, oh, we're going to travel.
We will travel. That's right. We will find the money for what we want to.
Yes,
You are
yes,
so
yes,
right.
yes. It's non-negotiable, but I love your approach because then when we're looking at that diagnosis or that overview of our financial, there's going to be some things that somebody may look at and say, well, do you really got to have this? And then we can speak to those things that's non-negotiable. Maybe I'll give up my cable, but I'm not giving up my vacation. So,
Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's the thing that a lot of coaches or, financial people, they make that mistake. It's like,
mhm.
I might really need my coffee in the morning. Like, don't tell me I
Right,
can't buy no coffee. I might need to give up cable, but I ain't giving up coffee. So don't tell me
right.
to give up coffee, or
Yes,
my shoes. That's not
right.
negotiable for me.
Yes, yes. I love that. I
But
love
you
that.
know what I'm saying? But
I
it's a
do.
trade-off. Then I
Yes,
got to make a trade-off. What am I trading off? Hopefully, I'm not trading off my investing and my saving
right,
and paying
right.
down my debt. But
Hmm.
if that's what I want to spend my little extra dollars on, then I'm 50.
Yes,
7.
yes.
I have to think about how old I am,
Right,
right?
right, right.
Right. So we need that in our
Yes,
lives. We need that freedom. We need those joyful moments, those things to
we
look
do.
forward to, right? Whatever that may be. Because I'm of the mind too. So let's say you're saving, 3 months. For that fourth month, don't save. Spend it on what you want to spend it on. That's that
Uh-huh.
approach.
The
That's
balance.
that
Yes.
trade-off. You
Yeah.
gotta have that. That's why people be like, oh my God, I can't do
Hmm.
nothing in a quick
Hmm.
budget. Like, that's why
Yes.
I don't want a budget. I can't do nothing.
Right, right, right,
Right?
right. And you
Right?
know the
Because that's
other
what a budget. You can't budget. That's what I said.
yes.
No, that is but you cannot budge a
Uh-huh.
budget. That's
It
not
feels
what it's supposed to be
right.
like,
It feels so
you know?
restricted.
Yeah.
Another thing that's coming to mind for me, one of the goals of the Be Well community is to create intergenerational conversations. And
Yeah.
sometimes I just look at my daughters and I'm just like, man, they just not taking their future seriously. And I look at how young, like you're in your 20s, like you're behind. Like really, you should, if you want to take my advice, I don't feel like you're going to be having those 60, 70-year-old conversations, but it goes like this. And
Yep.
so, how awesome would it be for us to have the intergenerational conversation where they still got a lot of time on their side?
Yes. I was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday, and it's like, man, if you in your 20s and your 30s just start putting 50 or $100
Hmm.
away a month, and you just literally try your best in life not to touch it, you will be a multimillionaire in your 60s.
Oh, wow.
No doubt about it. No
I
doubt about it.
yeah.
So, but we don't think you're right, but that's not what we know. And I got the proof. And you can just let it sit in a certain types of accounts and you will be a multimillionaire. But we don't think about it. I'm having this conversation with my daughter. She got her first full-time job. And she was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, they got a 401k and they got, benefits. I don't make enough money to save." And everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Girl, right? Like, look who
Mhm.
you talking to.
Right. Yes,
What are you
yes.
talking about? Right? Do
Hmm.
$25 a paycheck. Like, you're not gonna miss that. That's
Right.
a trade-off, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
just even having that, I'm like, I know what I'm talking about, right?
Right,
She
right.
she didn't do it. I'm
Hmm.
telling you, I'm like, it don't matter. Sometimes they just hard headed.
Yes, yes, yes. And yeah,
But I'm having a conversation. It's not my
right, right.
responsibility what they do with the information,
Exactly,
but I'm
exactly.
I'm having a conversation. And to be honest, I miss some things. That was one of those things, being a single mom, working in all them jobs and stuff like that. I miss that with my kids. I miss the financial conversation.
Mhm.
And
That's so real.
I missed it. I missed
Mhm,
it too. And so now trying to have it
mhm.
is a challenge. And
Yeah.
so now I'm trying to have start with the grandkids. If
Yeah.
I don't,
Ooh,
maybe I missed I don't want to
yeah,
say I missed the generation, but there's some hope for my
right.
7
Yes,
and
I can
10-year
so I
old.
can so
Right?
relate.
I done started
Yeah.
accounts for them, so they'll be
Uh-huh.
a little bit better off starting out anyway. So I'm like, maybe
Yes.
there's some hope for them.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. They may be more open, more receptive.
Yeah, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on the other ones, but my
Right.
son,
Mhm.
I hope they don't be watching this. They're gonna be like, you like him better than me. No, I'm not saying that. But he
Right.
gets it, right? And part of it is
Yeah.
because he's married, he has a family, he's a pastor. So it's like he gets I'm giving, I gotta save, I gotta
Mhm.
retire, he
Yes.
gets it a little bit more, but they're
Mhm.
just kind of like, oh, this is
Yeah.
my first job. I don't need to. So
Yeah, it's the education. It's the
yeah.
education part for me because I remember like going to college and then having the people lined up in the union at UWM giving us the credit cards, and I remember my parents saying, "You don't need those cards," but they weren't able to articulate the reason for
Why?
it,
Yep.
and really giving me the long term impact that kind of responsibility is. So
Yep.
it just now it's just a whole different era because they were just working people and
Yep.
they knew enough about financial things to know that at 17, 18 years old, I didn't need a credit card. But it's about being able to transfer that knowledge to
Yeah.
other people. Now, as an entrepreneur, I became very, very open to the formula that we both are part of a travel business.
Mhm.
Uh, and because one of the philosophies of the owner or the founder, the president of the company, is his mission, and he's a multi-millionaire over extended period of time. So he don't have new money. It's been there that he's created
Good.
entrepreneurship for a period of time, and so his thing with over 110,000 people that's part of his company is to make the money, save the money, and invest it. And
That's
so
right.
a lot of companies that offer home-based kinds of opportunities, they start going right away. Like instead of giving you your money, they start having you get cars. Well, that's going to be part of your benefit. But he was like, no, you can make your
Mm,
money buy what you want if that's what you want, because everybody
right.
don't want a high end car or whatever.
Yep.
And I
That's
love
smart.
that philosophy. Make the money, but really taking a look at your income, your financial situation, earn
Yep.
that extra income, because so many of us, according to statistics, are living way
Don't
beyond our,
have it. Yep.
and we do not have that flexibility in our income to even be able to start talking about saving it and investing. So
Right.
your approach to this, I think, is going to be so impactful for our community.
Yeah. Amen. That's good.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you brought up credit cards. I just wanted to piggyback on that. Like, yeah,
yeah,
when we're 17, 18 and in college, right, we don't think about we got to pay the money back. We right?
yeah.
We don't think about the interest and things like that. And unfortunately, that carries over when we're 30, 40, 50, 60,
Oh, most
right?
definitely. Yeah,
But, as a business owner, credit can be a friend if you know how to use it well, because
right.
it can help forward your business, right? I'm all for, and that's what wealthy people do. They
Yeah.
use other people's money to
Mm-hmm.
make money. If it's an income producing asset, it's called leverage, and it's different. So I want to say don't be afraid of it, but
Yeah.
consumer debt, yes. That debt for the shoes and the travel and the
Right.
yacht,
Right.
that you don't want to have debt for. But if you have
Yes.
debt for some real estate property, or you
Right.
have some debt for some, business expenses or
Mm-hmm.
whatnot, but not too much, right? You still want to
Right.
be able to pay it. But yeah, it's now I see the wisdom sometime in using it, because to be honest, I wish I had gotten more business credit. And I'm sorry if I'm getting off track, but
No, you're right on track. Go right ahead and explain it.
because I've had to use my personal money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm using personal money to pay for business expenses. And so it's like this crossover, and then it's like it's taking my money and then I'm waiting for the business to make some money,
Right.
So if
Right.
I had business credit, my
Mm-hmm.
business would be able to sustain whatever
Oh,
until
yeah.
money comes in, and then I pay that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
even I pay the business credit from my personal credit, but I'm just paying the whole gob
Uh-huh.
of
Mhm.
everything from my
Mhm.
personal money. And
Right.
so there is some place for business credit. And I got my car with business credit.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's a business for my, so it's a business expense. So there are some advantages
Mhm.
into having business credit. And of course, 90% of them look at your personal credit. So it's important to have
Right.
your personal credit together. But I'm
Wow.
sorry,
That makes
that
so
could have
much
probably been another class.
Uh-huh. And so let's talk about that, because again, the majority of the people that's in our network is around that 40 to 65 age group.
Mhm.
And if a person has less than stellar credit, how do you approach them when it comes to that financial overhaul?
Yeah, that's something that we deal with, and we look at, is it because of the spending that's kind of out of control? Is it because you're not saving, so you don't so you're racking up the debt? And we
Mhm.
come up with a debt pay down plan, because that's, if you have bad credit,
Mhm.
it's because you are spending too much you have too much debt on a credit card, right?
Yes.
Or what else? You missed payments on the credit
Right.
card, or
Right.
you didn't pay, so now you got collections, or you got a
Mhm.
bank. Everything goes back to you didn't pay, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
if you have less than stellar credit, then that's the first place we have to. The first thing we have to work on is the spending and the saving, getting the debt taken care of, and trying to look at what got you in that situation, to kind of backtrack, and
Sure.
so that you can get yourself out of that situation, develop different habits. That's what
Yes.
I'm looking for.
Yes.
So
I love it.
creating new habits, but it starts
Mhm.
here too. It starts
Right.
with your mindset, right? So
Mhm.
again, if you're looking at debt as, I'm going to use it as only for income producing activities, and if I don't have the money for it, I don't have the money for it. period. And so taking that stance, and that's hard. That's a
Mhm.
hard thing to do, to
Right.
say, if I can't afford this blank
Yes.
cash money, then that means I can't afford it. That means I'm not getting it. And that's
Yes.
hard to do. But
Yes.
that's the type of discipline and mindset, right? That's putting me behind. That's a consumerism
Mhm.
mentality. That's a poverty, that's a scarcity
Yeah.
mentality, right?
Yes.
When you feel like you're going to get whatever you can, however you can
Mhm.
get it, and you don't think about the future consequences, and it's
Right.
all about what you can consume today.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the types of things we kind of have to work on. I'm not a therapist, but I do play one on TV sometimes.
so so share with us, Alicia, like one of your biggest milestones or accomplishments, if you have a particular client or anything where you've seen that you really was proud of that person or proud of your
Yeah,
work. You have anything like that you can
yeah.
share with us?
I have a couple, but I always go back to my first one, because she was the one that cemented it for me and was like, oh, okay, I can do this thing. Okay,
Okay.
you know a little bit about what you're talking about, girl,
Yeah.
right? So she came to me. She was I think she's in her 40s,
Mhm.
and she was just really struggling with her money, and with her partner as well. And she felt like it was just a day to day, it was a grind every month. She was kind of in a hole. She didn't understand why. She didn't understand, she couldn't get ahead. She was working full time, she had a part-time job. She didn't understand what was going on. And so we did that deep dive. We looked at everything, like what's coming out your paycheck, how we can, just everything. We did a 3-month audit of her spending, and we did some of that mindset work,
Mhm.
because I'm a little I'm a little woo woo, in the sense that money is energy, right? And
Mhm.
it goes to where it flows. It's easy, right? So if
Mhm.
it ain't flowing, you blocking it somehow. So
Yeah.
we had to look at, what blocks do you have, what beliefs do you have, how are you
Mhm.
treating your money, how do you think about your money, how do you feel about your money, how do you
Mhm.
how do you how do you treat it, what do you do, what's your wallet look like, what's your purse
Yeah.
look like, what's your closet look like, what's your car look like, how do you even take care of your possessions? Says a lot, right? And
Yes.
so we got down to the nitty and the gritty of all of that. And she realized, and then also, if you're not taking care of the money you have, why should you have more? Right.
That's
So
it.
she, right?
Yes. Yes.
If you don't take care of it, it's just going to keep going. It's going to go
Right.
away from you. Right.
Mhm.
So we're just looking at all of that and having all of these conversations. And she realized she really just hadn't been taken care of and hadn't appreciated what she had. And
Right.
so looking at it, looking at how she's spending it, how she feels about it, how she treats it, and things just opened up. And it was like, she said so much stuff started happening for her. Like, she had old stuff on YouTube from years ago, people started paying. Like
Wow.
old links. Like, it was like she just,
Now changing
people were
her
like,
energy.
yeah,
Yes.
people were like, I saw this from YouTube 3 years ago. Are you still doing this and that? Can I? She was like, she was mind blown, right?
Wow.
But that's how it works. It's no joke. It's like, it just started flowing. People start coming to her like, well, if you do this, can you do this for me? Can you run my business doing this? She had business opportunities open up. She had all kind of new clients. She's able to quit that full-time job, and she now has 2 businesses, because she let it. And she'll say it was from her work with me.
I
She's
love
very open
that.
and honest about that. And
Yes.
I love that. So that's again, that was my first one. I was
Wow. That is that was you know that you are totally in alignment for what
like,
it is
yeah.
that you're really supposed to be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, and I just
That's
checked in
awesome.
with her a couple of weeks ago, and I said, so how is going? And so next we're going to look into, because that's one program or one part that I do. The other part is a whole passive investing portfolio, how to grow that. And so we're going to talk about that, because she don't want to be working that hard forever.
Okay.
Right. So now how you gonna work smarter, sis? Let's do that now. Let's figure
That's
that out.
right.
So
That's
that's
right.
next step.
Wow.
But yeah,
I am so
she's
excited
blossomed. Her
about just
marriage
everything
is
we're going
going
to be
very
doing.
well.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
wonderful, Alicia.
Hmm.
So, with Be Well, we have the magazine, we have a Facebook community, and we do live events and retreats for women entrepreneurs. So, based on what how are we going to be able to, or how can you really see leveraging your business so
Hmm.
that you can really connect and impact the Be Well community? What are some ideas that you have?
That's a good question. So yeah, I need to be obviously more active and just letting people know how I can help, what I can do, and I'm really there to serve. Maybe I don't know, we can talk about that, like what
Okay.
you would even want me to do, how you want me to help, but I'm open. I'm willing to do whatever I can, but I see a great synergy in that, and especially because even with the travel,
Yes.
piece of things, I love to travel. And that's why of all of the, different streams of, or, network marketing type of thing, that's the one I gravitated to. And I did 5 years ago, and I've just kind of been
Yeah.
taking my time about it. But it's like, yeah, that's very important to me now to even build
Mhm.
that up. I'm doing my, the coaching thing, and I'm kind of reinventing that side of things. And so now that I'm ready to really get into that side of the business, I'm really looking forward to meeting the ladies, and I'm guessing
Yes.
some men in there too.
Yep. Yep. Men and women.
Okay, I'm really looking forward to
Yep.
meeting everybody, but I have an affinity for women to help them. So I'm
Right.
not gonna
Right.
shut anybody out, but
That's right. That's
yeah.
right. I love it. I love it. Well, as we close out again, I just want to tell you how excited we are that you're going to be one of our regular contributors in the Be Well magazine. And we're definitely going to be putting our head together with Jojo Pa, who is our editor in chief, and Mike, who is from We Merge Media. So the three of us are going to put our heads together and see how we
Figure
can
it out.
definitely introduce
Yeah.
more of our community to what you're doing, because it's so, so important. Now, do you have anything coming up that our readers and our listeners may be able to take advantage of? And how can
Yeah.
people reach you too, Alicia?
Yeah, well, I'm available at aliciastingley.com. That's my email. I had to think about it. And then my website is aliciastingley.com. And I have a contact me form there. I do have a few things coming up. I am launching a new cohort of my group program. And in the meantime, and that's the passive investing one. So, but if you're not quite ready for that, I do have my financial audit that I do regularly as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much once again for being such an important part of the Be Well community. I'm looking forward to our partnership and just growing and learning so much from you. So thanks again. And thank you all so much for joining us again for another episode of Talk It Up Tuesday with Alicia Stingley.